play and call it work. MiniWarGaming's Faction Focus!
Hello everyone, Steve here from MiniWarGaming.com, and I'm about to go over everything Space Marine from Index Imperium Book 1. First of all, well, we have one special rule, and they shall know no fear. We've had this rule forever. So basically in 8th edition, what this rule does is you get to reroll your die in the morale phase. It actually does prove quite useful every now and then. And they also have their own discipline, the Librarius discipline for their Psychers. They got 3 powers which you can roll for randomly, or you can choose just like everybody else. So they have Veil of Time. Veil of Time is a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, pick an Adeptus Astartes unit within 18 of the Psyker. Until the start of your next Psychic phase, you can reroll the charge rolls and advance rolls for that unit, and they always fight first in the fight phase, even if they didn't charge. If the enemy also has units that have charged or have a similar ability, then alternate choosing units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn it is. That is a pretty solid power if you want to go combat Marines anyway. We also have Might of Heroes. Might of Heroes is a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select an Adeptus Astartes model within 12. Until the start of your next Psychic phase, add 1 to the model's strength, toughness, and attacks. Useful, but not game breaking. It's mostly going to go on your chapter master or your big beefy characters, it having to be an Adeptus Astartes model. And last we have a Null Zone. This one I really like, but it is hard to cast. It is a warp charge value of 8, so you gotta roll 8 or higher on 2d6. If manifested, then until the start of your next Psyche phase, while they are within 6 of the Psyker, enemy models cannot take invulnerable saves and must half the result of any psychic test rounding up that they take. That power is just awesome. If it was a 7 to cast or a 6 to cast, it'd be probably a little too efficient. So there we go, that's the special discipline and special rules for Space Marines. Let's take a look at the units themselves. A lot of character options for Space Marines. There's captains and various types of armor, librarians, different types of armor, and bikes. We had tech Marines and chaplains. I brought Robote Gilman out here as well, because we're probably want to take a look at him. The captain, he's a movement 6, weapon skill, bliss skill 2+ model, strength and toughness 4, 5 wound model. I think I said that part. 4 attacks, 9 leadership, and a 3-up save. Now you can get him in Terminator armor, which gives you the 2-up save and a 5-up invuln. You have Cataphracti, which gives him the 4-up invuln, as well as a 2-up armor save. But if he advances, he has to roll 2 dice and pick the lowest, if I remember correctly. Cataphracti gives him a 3-up invulnerable save, because yeah, every captain has an Iron Halo giving him 4-up anyway, so it's a little redundant with the Terminator armor, but Cataphracti armor, it stacks, or helps out anyway, giving him a 3-up invulnerable save, because Cataphracti and Iron Halo. Oh, but what is, you have to halve the dice for advancing if you're in Cataphracti armor. Gravis armor gives you toughness 5, and +1 wound as well, over the regular stats of the captain, making him a little bit more resilient, but still only a 3-up save and a 4-up invuln from the Iron Halo. Just about every captain type can take a Storm Shield with the exception of Gravis armor, giving them a 3-up invuln. The captain has the Rites of Battle special rule, giving him, you can reroll rolls of 1 made by friendly chapter, so your chapter type, units within 6 of this model. That doesn't say Adeptus Astartes, this says a chapter, so I think that does include vehicles. I'm just going to briefly look ahead and see if vehicles have chapter. Dreadnots do. And vehicles do, so when you're within 6 of the captain, you get to reroll 1s to hit. And it's reroll 1s to hit in the assault or shooting phase. Or I should say fight phase now. The Librarian can go on a bike or in Terminator armor, gaining a 5-up invuln in Terminator armor, faster move on a bike, and +1 toughness if you're on a bike. He does have the Psychic Hood, which in 8th edition allows him to add 1 to deny the witch rolls against enemy Psychers within 12 of him. So you can just attempt to stop spells within 24, but if you're doing 12, you get +1 to your attempt. But he's basically a move 6, weapon skill plus skill 3, strength toughness 4, 4 wound, 3 attack, leadership 9, 3-up armor save model. Chaplains have a similar stat line, except for they have a weapon skill 2+, and they have the Litanies of Hate special roll. You can reroll fail to hit rolls for the fight phase for any chapter unit within 6 of the model. Also, any chapter units within 6 of the model can use the chaplain's leadership instead of their own, and his leadership is 9. He comes with the Rosarius, which is a 4-up invulnerable save, and just like everybody else, you can either get on a bike, get in Terminator armor, or buy a jump pack, getting the fly keyword and movement 12, I believe it is. Yeah, movement 12. And the ability to deep strike, just like everybody else. Or a deep strike type ability. The Apothecary there, he's actually an elite choice now, but he is a character now. There's no longer an upgrade for a unit, like a command squad. But the Narthesium is, at the end of your movement phase, the Apothecary can attempt to heal or revive a single model. Select a friendly chapter, infantry, or biker unit within 3 of the Apothecary. If the unit contains a wounded model, it immediately regains D3 lost wounds. If the chosen unit contains no wounded models, but one or more of his models have been slain during combat or during the battle, roll a D6. On a 4+, the slain model is returned with 1 wound remaining. So I see these chaplains everywhere just dragging around their dead friends, following units around, saying, hey, get back in the fight. If he recovers a model, if he fails that 4+ roll, he can't do anything else the remainder of that turn. The Primaris Lieutenants and the company, like say Primaris Ancients, all have special rules. You can see them interact actually in the first battle report on YouTube, but Ancients are the banner bearers. Lieutenants are little extra characters that basically help you reroll wounds to 1 while they're within 6 of a unit, which actually stacks quite nicely. They're more of force multipliers than actual characters that do great things on their own. Tactical squads, scout squads, Terminator squads, Devastator squads, assault squads, they're all here. They're all here. They're all back and they're a little bit different. Let's start off with tactical squads. They maintain their movement 6, 3, weapon skill, most skill, strength toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7 now. Leadership 8 for the sergeant. This sergeant can replace his bolt pistol and bolt gun with items from the sergeant's equipment list. If the unit contains fewer than 10 models, 1 model in the unit can swap his bolt gun for a special or heavy weapon. If there's 10, you can do 1 special, 1 heavy. Combat squad is still a thing, so if there's 10 models in the squad, you can split them off into 2 5-man squads. I'm just going to quickly go over all the weapon options for them. Same as the last time, but obviously weapon stats have changed quite a bit. So plasma guns are rapid fire 1, 24-inch range, strength 7, -3, 1 damage. You can supercharge it, making it strength 8, -3 still, but 2 damage. But if you roll a 1 to hit, you're just removed from play. Grav is rapid fire 24-inch range, strength 5, -3, 1 damage. But if the target has a 3-up or better save, it does D3 damage. Lash Cannon's quite nice. It's heavy 1, strength 9, -3, D6 damage. So you can still move them in your tactical squad and hit on a 4 with the Lash Cannon. Missile launcher is still quite good. You can do a heavy 1 shot, strength 8, -2, D6 damage, or a heavy D6 shot, strength 4, no rend, or no AP I should say, 1 damage apiece. Melt a gun, 12-inch range, is assault 1 weapon, strength 8, -4 to your save, D6 damage. But if you're in half range, you roll 2d6 and pick the highest number for damage. Heavy Bolter is cheap at a heavy 3, strength 5, -1 to your save, 1 damage. So all these weapons are very viable for tactical squad, especially since now you can move and fire your missile launcher, not hitting on 6s, mostly hitting on 4s because -1 to hit for just moving and firing a heavy weapon. Scout squads, they move 6. They're basically the exact same stat as a Marine. Leadership 8 on the Scout Sergeant. They can take Astartes shotguns, which are assault 2, 12-inch range, strength 4, 1 damage. If the target is within half range, so within 6 inches, they're strength 5. But the sniper rifle is where it's at for me. It's heavy 1, strength 4. It can target even a character, even if it's not the closest target to the unit. And if you roll a 6 to a wound, it does a mortal wound as well. Now, a scout only has a 4-up save, but with camel cloaks, and they're in cover, they get +2 to their save instead of +1. So in cover, they're as good as a Space Marine in cover. And when you deploy them in the deployment phase, you can deploy them anywhere on the table as long as they're 9 inches away from the enemy, which is actually quite cool. Terminator squads are only movement 5. They have 2 wounds now. Leadership 8 for the regular guy and 9 for the Terminator Sergeant. 2 2-up save still. The Stormbolter is rapid fire 2, 24-inch range. So 2 shots at 24-inch range or 4 shots in 12-inch range. Strength 4, no AP, 1 damage apiece. Their power fists are ×2 strength, so the strength 8, -3 to your save, D3 damage, but you must subtract 1 to the hit roll when fighting with this weapon. The chain fist is the same, except for it is -4 to your save, and it is 2 damage instead of D3. When you compare the point cost to a power fist and a chain fist, the power fist is 20 points for the model, the chain fist is 22. The chain fist has 1 better rend. The chain fist always does 2 damage, whereas the power fist does D3. So I think for extra 2 points, the chain fist is probably worth it all around, because I like the reliability of always 2 wounds as opposed to randomly D3. And still, 1 in 5 can still buy a heavy weapon from the heavy weapons list. And then there's also the Assault Terminators. They have the Lightning Claws or Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. Storm Shields are 3-up invuln. The Thunder Hammer is strength ×2, -3 to your save, always 3 damage, but you must subtract 1 to the hit. So Thunder Hammers are better. Lightning Claws are strength user, -2 to your save, 1 damage. But if you attack with 2 Lightning Claws, you get 1 additional attack. To me, Assault Squads sound very interesting again. So they're movement 6, 12 if they have the jump pack. Weapon skill 3, standard Space Marine stats, leadership 7, 8 for the sergeant. With the bolt pistol and chainsword equipped, they actually have 2 attacks in combat each, because the chainsword gives you additional attack. 2 of the Space Marines may exchange their bolt pistol and chainsword with a flamer or a plasma pistol and chainsword. Now this is what I find quite interesting, because plasma pistols are probably where it's at, seeing as how you can use them in combat in your own shooting phase if they're locked in combat. With jump packs, they gain fly, so they can charge flyers, but they gain that jump pack assault is basically their deep strike capability, where they're 9 inches away from the opponent. And one thing I did notice I find actually quite interesting, for every 5 models in the unit, 1 model may replace his bolt pistol and chainsword with an eviscerator. Now, first of all, an eviscerator is strength ×2, -4 to your save, D3 damage, but you must subtract 1 to your hit roll. It says 1 model in 5, so technically the sergeant can have that, unless there's a ruling later on that says you can't do that. The sergeant can hold the eviscerator, because he has 2 attacks base. You get much more bang for that eviscerator on the sergeant than you will on a regular guy. And without dangerous terrain anymore, their ability to jump from ruins to ruins safely and engage things with their plasma pistols, eviscerators, all around solid unit. And movement 14 with the jump pack is actually quite nice. Actually, movement 12, but movement 12 with the jump pack and the fly keyword, I mean, they can fall back from combat and shoot their plasma pistols or flamers. You want flamers on them. So I think assault troops are quite nice. As our Devastator squads, same old thing, same old Space Marine stat. 4 of them can carry a heavy weapon. The sergeant can give 1 of them the ability to have +1 to hit. But the Armorium Cherub is a once per game ability that the unit just has. After a model in this unit has fired, and an Armorium Cherub can reload that model's weapons. When it does so, remove the Armorium Cherub, and that model can immediately shoot again. The removal of the Armorium Cherub for any reason is ignored for purpose of the morale. So basically, with grav weapons, or grav cannons, for example, being heavy 4 now, strength 5, -3 to your save, and D3 damage if the target has 3 up or better save, you can fire all 4 of the shots, expend your cherub, and then fire again. I think the way I want to run a Devastator squad now is 3 missile launchers and 1 las cannon. The sergeant probably gives a las cannon +1 to hit constantly. Hopefully there's somebody nearby that has them reroll 1s. I think the squad is going to be so much better. The missile launchers are a very solid choice. Las cannons are scary. I have a lot of high hopes for Devastators. However, there is somebody that does kind of do a little bit better. We have Centurion Devastators and Assault Centurions. Centurion Devastators, we're going to probably swap their chest storm bolters, or sorry, hurricane bolters with Centurion missile launchers. Las cannons all kind of seem better than grav now. But let's just talk about the Centurion as a whole before we get into the weapons. So the thing is actually quite slow. He only moves 4. Weapon skill plus skill 3, strength and toughness of 5, 3 wounds each. 2 attacks, leadership 7, a 2-up armor save. So their Hurricane Bolters are 24-inch range, rapid fire 6, strength 4, AP nothing, 1 damage guns, which you can upgrade to Centurion Missile Launchers, which are 36-inch range, assault D3. Assault D3, that's a good one, because on a move not have the penalty for firing. Strength 8, minus 2 to your save, D3 damage. They come with 2 heavy bolters apiece, but you can swap them out for a grav cannon and grav amp. The grav amp, I can't find any rules for. I don't think it does anything anymore. But the grav cannon is 24-inch range, heavy 4, strength 5, minus 3, 1 damage. On a save of 3 or better, it's D3. Or they can take 2 las cannons, and I'll say the las cannon stats again because they're awesome. Heavy 1, strength 9, minus 3 to your save, D6 damage. I think you're going to see guys with las cannons and missile launchers. Now, the Sergeant can take Omniscope, or does have an Omniscope, so you do not get cover when these fire at you. And they have Decimator protocols. They can move and fire their las cannons or even their grav weapons and not suffer the penalty for moving and firing. So obviously the squad is really, really good, beats Devastators in every way, except for they are hefty in points. A Devastator costs 13 points a model. A Devastator Centurion is 65 a model. Now this is before you buy any upgrades for weapons. The Centurion Missile Launchers cost 25 points just to upgrade them to that. Each las cannon is another 25 points, so you're probably going to go with a 75-point upgrade on just the one model. Whereas the Devastator squad, you're just buying, maybe 10 guys, probably just 5 guys at 13 points, and then paying the heavy weapon point cost afterwards, which is costing you, again, still 25 points for a Devastator hold a las cannon, but not as hefty as the Centurion. We should talk about bike next because they are, I think, this is the addition of bikes, I think. So they move 14, they have toughness 5, they have 2 wounds. Other than that, standard Space Marine stats. They have a rapid fire 2 bolt gun on the bike, so 4 shots within 12 inches per biker. 2 models in the squad can have a special weapon. The Sergeant can take a, Sergeant weapons, which can be a combi weapon. So basically what I'm thinking for bikers is even squads of just 3, the 2 regular guys take a flamer. The Sergeant takes a combi flamer, which can be used as many times as you want. It doesn't burn out after 1 use. When they advance, they move additional 6 automatically. So this squad can move 14 plus 6, so 20 inches, and still fire all 3 of those flamers that auto hit. That'll cost you 109 points, 25 points per bike, 11 for the combi flamer, and 9 for each flamer. They're just zipping around and doing 3d6 auto strength 4 hits. Or you can just put your grav guns on there or your plasma guns. Plasma's quite nice. Melt is quite nice if you get close enough. With 2 wounds per biker and toughness 5 and the movement 14. I think it's the movement 14 and the 2 wounds which really sells it for me, but the bike squads are definitely my favorite choice in the entire book. Scout bikes go actually a little bit faster. They are 16-inch move, but they only have a 4-up save. Oh, they also get the Astartes Grenade Launcher, which is 24-inch range, Assault 1, Strength 6, minus 1 to your save, D3 damage. Or it can also fire a Frag Grenade, which is Assault D6, Strength 3, no AP, 1 damage. They can carry the Astartes Shotgun. They also do the Auto 6 Turbo Boost when they advance. And they have combat squads, just like everything else Space Marine. Other than the ability to take shotguns, I don't see, unless I'm missing something, I'm not seeing why you should bring Scout bike squads right here and now, other than for narrative play. They just seem to be inferior bike squads. Because you really want those flamers or special weapons, but they do have the mobility, they don't have the save, they do have 2 wounds, but just regular bikers I think is where it's at. And if you're a Space Marine player, you probably have a bunch of these things lying around. Rhinos, Razorbacks, and drop pods. They all went up a lot in points. The drop pod alone is a little over 100 points by himself. His movement is 0 because he just drops in at any of your movement phase, anyone you want. When the guys get out, the drop pod and the guys getting out must be 9 inches away from your opponent. It is strength and toughness 6. It has 8 wounds, only 8. No attack, so this is the one vehicle that can't actually attack. It can have a Stormbolter, which is rapid fire 2, or the Deathwind Launcher, which is Assault D6, Strength 5. But it's a lot more expensive than it used to be, but it's still quite good. The Rhino has a 12-inch move when it's not wounded. Weapon skill 6 with 3 attacks, strength 6 attacks. I mean, it's not going to do much, but it can charge, and the fact that the Rhino can charge is a big deal. It has ballistic skill 3 unwounded. It has 10 wounds with a 3-up save. It has a Stormbolter on it, and you can buy Hunter Killer Missile, which is a one-use only heavy one, strength 8, -2, D6 damage missile. It has the self-repair, so at the start of your turn, you roll a die on a 6, it regains 1 lost wound. It also has smoke launchers, which it can fire instead of shooting its weapons, but if it does so, your opponent is -1 to hit it. And it explodes like a vehicle. If you roll 6, it could do mortal wounds to guys around him. The Razorback friend right next to him is the same thing, only it has a twin heavy bolter, which can swap out for the twin las cannon or twin assault cannon, or the las cannon and twin plasma gun, or the twin heavy flamer. The heavy flamer is quite nice because the auto hits with 2d6 strength 5 attacks. The las cannon is where I think I'll probably putting up the most, because having a twin las cannon on top of this vehicle, especially since the main reason why I took Rhinos previously was the fire points. 2 guys can stand outside of it and just fire their weapons, and those are all gone. So no more firing from inside. So the Razorback, even though it can only hold, I think, 6 models, you'll see the back, especially because all the heavy weapons are so much better now. For me, the struggle will always be, do I want to have the twin heavy flamer or the twin las cannons? Because heavy flamers are just, it's the auto hits are awesome. And the las cannons doing d6 damage to everything, which is just absolutely awesome too. We should talk about a couple other flyers, one of them being a transport still, but the little guy up front, that is the Storm Talon gunship. It is strength and toughness 6 with 10 wounds and a 3-up save. It must move a minimum of 20. I think, yeah, it can. It can hover. It can drop down and hover, which means it gets 20-inch move, but it loses its airborne and hard to hit. A lot of good guns. This one here is modeled with a twin las cannon and a twin assault cannon. A lot of firepower on those. I think there's also a Skyhammer missile on that one. No, my mistake. Just twin las cannon and twin assault cannon. A lot of firepower for a 10 wound, very mobile, 3-up armor save vehicle. The Storm Raven is strength 8, toughness 7 with 14 wounds and a 3-up save. It comes with a twin assault cannon, a twin heavy bolter, and 2 Storm Strike missiles. Storm Strike missiles are new. We haven't talked about them yet, but they're heavy 1, strength 8, -3, 3 damage, and they're no longer 1 use only. It can replace its twin assault cannon with a twin las cannon or twin heavy plasma cannon, or it can replace its heavy bolter with a twin multi-melta or Typhoon missile launcher. Typhoon missile launcher is just a double missile launcher, so 2 heavy shots or 2d6 strength 4 shots. And it can also take 2 hurricane bolters. It does have hover and Power the Machine Spirit. Power the Machine Spirit allows it to fire its heavy weapons as if it didn't move. It can transport 12 chapter infantry models and 1 chapter dreadnought. Each jump pack or Terminator model it takes up 2 spaces rather than 1. Each Centurion it takes up 3 spaces instead of 1. It cannot transport Primaris Marines. I think people would be mad at me if I didn't talk about the Thunderfire cannon. This guy here is now 60-inch range, heavy 4d3, strength 5, AP nothing, 1 damage shots, but it can shoot at targets they can't see. But it can only fire if its Tech Marine is within 3 of it. Now, that is a bit of a nerf to what it used to be, but you should point out this thing is like less than 60 points with the Tech Marine Gunner. Now, the Tech Marine Gunner didn't have to buy a bunch of equipment that he comes with. So all in all, you're looking at under 100 points for this guy once you buy all the little equipment pieces like the 2 servo arms for the Tech Marine, who can still heal things like a regular Tech Marine. So you can heal vehicles at the end of your movement phase. You can repair a single chapter vehicle within 1 of them. It gains D3 lost wounds. Land speeders are another thing I think you're going to see a lot of with their movement 6, weapon skill 3, and ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7, not that it matters, and a 3-up save. It comes with a heavy bolter, but you can swap that thing out for lots of weapons. A multi-melta or heavy flamer are two very good options. So the multi-melta, you know what a multi-melta is. It is 24-inch range, heavy 1, strength 8, minus 4 to your save, d6 damage, but it's 2d6 with your if you're within 12, picking the highest die for damage. The heavy flamer is awesome, especially since it is auto hit and it's heavy because you're going to be moving this thing constantly, so we'll have a penalty to fire his multi-melta. Underslung, you can take a assault cannon, which is heavy 6 now, strength 6 minus 1 to your save, 1 damage each. It can also have a Typhoon missile launcher, which is heavy 2, strength 8 minus 2 d6 damage, or heavy 2d6, strength 4. I know Dave has a lot of double heavy flamers. I think those ones are going to be really good because these things can scoot up forward, engage your opponent's, say, Predator with a bunch of last cannons, stop it from firing. It can then back away on its own turn because it has a fly keyword and go ahead and roast stuff. And if you have a couple of heavy flamers, nobody's going to charge it. No infantry wants to charge it for 2d6 auto hits. The versatility of this vehicle means I think you're going to see these a lot now. Like the fly keyword, it's crazy speed, weapon choices. It can sit back and fire missiles, or it can zip around and try to engage things, or it can just stand next to units while other units charge them to prevent models from piling in certain different directions. There's all kinds of uses for this thing. This thing is the tool belt, the jack of all trades in the Space Marine list now. Now I gotta talk about Justin's favorite unit, the Dreadnought. It is movement 6, weapon skill with skill 3, strength 6, toughness 7, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, 8 leadership with a 3-up save. Now, if you guys have watched Quirk's Orc videos, you've seen orcs tear these things apart in combat. Toughness 7 means you need to be strength 3 to wound this thing on 6s. So even strength 4 is wounding these things on 5s in combat. So not as resilient as they were before. The Dreadnought close combat weapon makes them strength 12 with minus 3 to the save and 3 damage. You can also get, it has smoke launchers, it does explode. It can also swap his arm for a variety of weapons. Assault cannons, you get heavy flamers on the power fist, twin autocannons, missile launchers, just like you could do before. Twin last cannon, what these ones are armed with. We have a twin last cannon and we have a plasma cannon on them. But, infantry's gonna tear them down now. I think they really need a toughness 8. I really do believe they need a toughness 8. Now the Ironclad here on the right, he got the toughness 8. He's got to move 6, weapon skill with skill 3 with the strength 6. 8 wounds, 4 attacks, 8 leadership, 3-up save. But toughness 8's a big deal because now all those strength 4 guys are wounding on 6s. And that goes for bolt guns too. I mean, a bolt gun wounded a Dreadnought in a 5, or wounds a Dreadnought in a 5, but Ironclad Dreadnought is only wounded on a 6. He has the Wrecker special rule on the Ironclad. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for this model if it's equipped with 2 melee weapons. If this model is equipped with Ironclad assault launchers and finishes a charge within one of the enemy unit, roll d6 on a 4+, it suffers d3 mortal wounds. It also has smoke launchers and explodes like a vehicle. The seismic hammer for a Dreadnought is strength times 2, so strength 12, minus 4 to your save. It does 5 damage, but you must subtract 1 to the hit roll. So it means it goes from a 3+ to hit to a 4+ to hit. Or it can use the Dreadnought close combat weapons, which is same as the regular Dreadnought, or a Dreadnought chain fist, which is times 2 damage, times 2 strength, which is still strength 12, minus 4 to your save and 4 damage, a little bit better than the regular Dreadnought close combat weapon. And he also comes with his melta gun, which, strength 8, minus 4 d6 damage, 2d6 within 6, picking the highest die. And so I think you're going to see more Ironclad, less regular Dreadnoughts. I think toughness 8 is the big thing setting it apart. Now it is more of a combat Dreadnought than a long-range fire support. So yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Dreadnoughts are fire support, and the Ironclad, you want them to get right up in there. And while we're talking about Dreadnoughts, I want to go back to the drop pod for a second, because The transport section on the drop pod says this model may carry 10 chapter infantry models. It cannot transport jump pack, Terminator, Primaris, or Centurion models. So Dreadnots can no longer get inside of a drop pod, and that's a big deal. It's a big hit for the Ironclad. However, when Forge World comes up with their book, I believe the Dreadnought drop pod will be back to help them out. But as it stands right now, no sticking these guys in drop pods anymore. And Space Marines do have a wide variety of tanks. The Vindicator is a toughness 8 tank. It has a strength of 6. It has 11 wounds. Its attacks are, you know, the standard 6 up to hit with 3 attacks. They're never going to hit anything in combat, but it can charge. The Demolisher Cannon, however, is a strength... Sorry, let's say it's a range 24, heavy D3 gun, strength 10, minus 3 to your save, D6 damage. So strength 10 is quite nice. It's going to wound almost every vehicle on at least a 3. But when attacking a unit with 5 or more models with a Demolisher Cannon, it turns into heavy D6 instead of heavy D3. So D3 shots if you're going to fire at a vehicle, D6 if firing an infantry with more than 5 or more models. Which means for firing at a vehicle, it's gotten better than it was last edition because it's heavy D3 instead of heavy 1. The Predator, on the other hand, is only toughness 7 with 11 wounds, 3 up save. But the ability to have a twin last cannon up top or twin last cannons on the side, just a whole bunch of last cannons can tear things apart. However, the Predator autocannon itself might be worth keeping on top. So it is 48-inch range, heavy 2d3, strength 7, minus 1 to your save, 3 damage each. So I think that's the loadout you're going to see a lot of. Predators with the Predator autocannon and sponson las cannons. The Whirlwind not listed here is either heavy 2d6, strength 6, AP nothing, 1 damage, can fire at targets not visible, or heavy 2d3, strength 7, minus 1 to your save, 2 damage, and can fire at targets you can't see. The Hunter in the back there, his Sky Spear missile launcher is heavy 1, strength 9, minus 3 to your save, d6 damage. It can add 1 to the hit rolls of any target that can fly. You can reroll failed hit rolls for this weapon. So it hits on 3s, hits on 2s if you're targeting a flying thing. That's pretty good. But it is one shot. We get to reroll it. So is it worth it? Probably. At 120 points. It's toughness 8. That is a big deal. With 11 wounds, 120 points with a Sky Spear missile launcher, toughness 8, 3 up save. Could be worth it, especially with the reroll to hit. That's the one problem I have with single shot weaponry, but at least this one gets the reroll to hit. Now, the Land Raider. This one is a bit iffy for me. Now, with this loadout, a double twin las cannon and twin heavy bolter, it's about 350 points-ish. Two twin las cannons, twin heavy bolter. This thing is strength and toughness 8 with 16 wounds and a 2 up save. So it is pretty resilient. With Power of the Machine Spirit, it can move and not suffer the penalty for firing heavy weapons. It does have smoke launchers. It does have frag assault launchers. Roll d6 each time this model finishes a charge move within one of the enemy. On a 4+, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Sorry, the frag assault launchers are on a Land Raider Crusader, which has a transport capacity of 16, but this Land Raider here pictured has a transport capacity of 10. Stats still the same though. Now, the Crusader has the twin assault cannon on top and the Hurricane bolters on the side. The Redeemer has the Flamestorm cannon, which is range 8, d6 auto hits at strength 6 minus 2 damage. Now the one issue I kind of have with these Land Raiders, at 350-ish points, if they get charged, they are stuck, forced to fall back and not shoot for a turn, because in combat they're going to have 6 attacks that only hit on 6s. But there's going to be strength 8 attacks. You don't really want this thing on combat, so you got to make sure it does not get charged. That's the only fallback I see with a lot of the wheeled or tracked vehicles. If it doesn't have the fly keyword, you got to make sure it does not get charged if it's a gunboat. Because I mean, one Rhino charging this Land Raider negates all that shooting. One Rhino charging the Vindicator negates all that shooting. One Rhino charging that Predator negates all that shooting. And that's why I think the skimmers, the speeders, are going to be pretty good at zooming across the field and just charging a Land Raider or a Vindicator or a Predator, as long as it survives its firepower. Try to hide up the field and just charge the backfield artillery. I will, however, talk about Robute Gilman, the Primarch for the Ultramarines. Not really a Space Marine thing. I'm not going to go over all the Ultramarine characters or all the special characters in the book, but I will go over Gilman because he's a Primarch, and I know many of you want to hear about him. So he moves 8. He is Weapon Skill 2, Ballistic Skill 2, Strength and Toughness 6, 9 wounds, 6 attacks, Leadership 10, 2+ save. The Hand of Dominion for shooting is 24-inch range, rapid fire 3, strength 6, -1 your save, 2 damage. The Emperor's Sword is strength +2, making him strength 8, -4 to your save, 3 damage. If you roll to wound is 6 for this weapon, it inflicts D3 mortal wounds in addition to its normal damage. And the Hand of Domination in combat is strength ×2, making him strength 12, -3 to your save, 3 damage. He does have an additional No Fear. He has Armor of Fate. Robute Gilman has a 3-up invulnerable save. In addition, the first time he is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6. On a 4, set him up again at the end of the phase as close as possible in his previous position, more than 1 inch away from enemies, with d6 wounds remaining. He also has the Author of the Codex special rule. If your army is Battleforged, you receive an additional 3 command points if he is your warlord. And the Master of Battle special rule, you can add 1 to the advance and charge rolls for friendly Imperium units within 12 of him. And he can reroll hits of 1, or sorry, reroll hit rolls of 1 and failed morale tests for these units as well. And the 13th Primarch special rule, you can reroll fail to any fail to hit and wound rolls for friendly Ultramarines units within 6 of them. And he's only 360 points, so he moves 8. He's faster than he was in 7th edition, but forget 7th edition. He's movement 8. He is only 9 wounds, so he cannot be targeted if there are closer enemy units to him. So he moves 8 every turn. He's barely more expensive than a Land Raider. This guy is definitely usable now. He doesn't suffer all the problems he did back in 7th edition. So I think he's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing more Primarchs. One more thing I want to point out before I conclude this video is I did not talk about much Primaris stuff, and that is intentional. The second video in the vault right now has a game of Primaris. No, actually the first video on YouTube has a game where I'm using all the Primaris stuff. So you can see all my opinions of Primaris Marines in that video. That's how do you feel about Primaris Marines work?
I don't know. I feel like I should go watch that video.
I just feel the regular guys don't seem all that great. The Ancestor squads, okay. But the jump ones, the Inceptor squads, are amazing, and the Hellblasters can be quite good, but they're fighting for a heavy support slot. That's their only downside. But the Inceptors are awesome. Ancestors are kind of lackluster to me.
I'll be honest right now, viewers. Haven't looked at them.
Really?
I've been looking at everything else. Yeah,
it's true. Okay, well. That's why you see no Primaris stuff. Now, I know I didn't cover everything from the book, but man, this video would be terribly long if I covered every little thing and every special character. But it's a pretty solid book. That's it for Space Marines. I'm going to go right now with Quirk and talk about how we would play Space Marines moving forward in 8th edition. Check that video out right now. That's in the MiniWarGaming Vault. Now, if you're not already a Vault member, you can click the link below to get yourself a 7-day free trial to watch that video, because right now we have another Space Marine battle report in the Vault as well as everything we do and add in YouTube. We put an additional video in the MiniWarGaming Vault, so it's twice the value, twice the videos to see every day, just by being a Vault member. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy wargaming.